Hello, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate Role Talk Radio Network, which is a subsidiary of Global Media Network LLC. And at Passionate Role Talk Radio, our mantra is educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the guest may not represent those of the host or the station. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. This is my first show of 2024, which will probably be posted in February, but that's okay. Never too late to say happy new year. And I'm excited, folks. New season, and what a better way to start the season. You know, if you've heard me, my heart is for the caregivers. I do my show to provide resources to help people. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help people hopefully have a better life. And with me today, you're going to love my guest. I'm excited. With me today is Bina, B-I-N-A, Coleman, C-O-L-M-A-N. Bina is founder of Compassionate Concierge, which just recently, near the end of December, joined with Parent Projects. And they have a new service, Compassionate Concierge. And Bina Coleman is going to tell us how she started Compassionate Concierge, what they're doing now, about Compassionate Concierge, and I can't wait to hear it. Welcome, Bina Coleman, to Chatting with Betsy.
Thank you so much, Betsy. That was a great introduction. And I agree, it's never too late to say Happy New Year.
Well, thank you very much. I am so glad that you connected with me, and I love having people on who are making a difference in the world and are showing their humanity to others and helping people. And you, Bina Coleman, are doing that. And I'd love for you to start with how did you become the founder of Compassionate Concierge, and what you're doing now with the Parent Project service.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You can start.
Okay.
That's a loaded question, yeah. I know.
So, no, it's a good question. Yes, so I did found Compassionate Concierge. A little bit about my background, I do have a degree in gerontology, and I've just been working in this industry for my career. So starting Compassionate Concierge really came out of what I felt was a need that was missing in this whole service industry. My own father got diagnosed with dementia in his late 50s and passed in his early 60s. And at that time, I was a true sandwich generation caregiver. I had 2 little kids. They're still little now, but they were even littler then. And I was working full time, and we placed my dad in a memory care unit or facility, and so I'd be visiting him there. So there was just a lot going on. And I really, truly felt like, we were very fortunate to be able to place him in the place we wanted to. And so I just knew that wasn't reality for everyone. And then working in this industry for so long, I knew there was something missing with home care prices always on the rise. Not everyone could afford it. Even if they could, just maybe the minimum per week. Compassionate Concierge stepped in and was able to help on the times caregivers couldn't be there. And what Compassionate Concierge was doing was calling people up to 5 times a day, 7 days a week, to just check on them. Medication reminders, meal reminders, quick hellos, make sure they got out of bed, there were no falls, all that kind of stuff.
That sounds wonderful. Go ahead. That sounds great. Go ahead. I'm going to get a little verklempt here because your dad was diagnosed probably around the same age as my husband.
Yeah, and I wonder, yeah.
Matt was 56 when diagnosed, and he died at 66. So,
yeah, very similar, actually.
Yeah, so I understand your sandwich, generation, because you're raising a family and you're taking care of your dad. And this is going to happen, folks. more and more you're going to see young people, and I consider you young, Bina.
I turn 40 soon, okay?
Yes, you're young. Being caregivers. My son, Josh, was a caregiver for his dad in his, let's see, Josh is 39 now, so 14 years. Yeah, he was in his 20s. Yeah, the 20s.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bina.
Completely. No, it's just so true. You do bring up a good point there that it's just going to be happening, sadly, more and more.
Yes.
And so I was doing Compassionate Callers since the beginning of 2023, and then as of January 3rd, 2024, it was official that we were acquired and merged with a company called Parent Projects, which is very exciting. I pivoted what Compassionate Callers is doing, and now I am the head of their patron engagement, which means I am overseeing the department. So when families create these projects at parentprojects.com, I make sure, they're getting the correct resources, they're happy, there's, any issues I jump in and want to solve. So there's a lot that goes into every family project, and that's where me and Compassionate Callers have landed at this time.
That is so cool. So with the Parent Projects, what do they do? Do they deal with families with special needs children?
So that's a great question, actually. No. At this time, we actually are just focusing around 55 and plus. So when we say Parent Projects, it's kind of a play on words, I guess, because it's an adult child or an adult loved one caring for their elderly one. So, like, it would have been me at the time if my dad needed, Parent Projects wasn't around when he was sick, but I would have created a project for my parent, and then I would have gotten, the help, the resources, someone to talk to, the community, and all that kind of stuff once I created the project.
Oh, that is awesome. So This would be for someone like, I'll say my son, okay, who, when his father had Alzheimer's, could have contacted you, Parent Project, or even, when I'm need a caregiver, and he could call. So an adult child could call. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And we would go through him, what is happening with his father. What services do you need? Do you need home care? Do you need home health? Do you need a support group? I mean, the list just goes on and on. At the moment, we have 72 categories, and that list is always growing with vendors. And it goes all the way to mobile dog groomers because, we don't want elderly people on their wasted trip outside getting their dog groomed if someone could come to their house and do it. So there's just resources for just about anything to keep a person safe and secure wherever they call home.
Oh, okay. So then they could get resources from the Compassionate Concierge in their area. Do you cover all 50 states?
Yeah, it's a nationwide service. The great thing is every single resource or vendor that we have is actually vetted. We call it VBN, a Verified Business Network. And so, I feel better knowing, I'm giving you a home care agency that is legitimate, and they do the background checks, and they know their caregivers are not sick when they're showing up, and they have the insurance on them. So, that's one example of how we vet and have our VBNs be very secure when they're with our clients and the families.
That's important. And I say this all the time, Bina, when I talk to someone who was a caregiver who does have a business, that me personally, this is my own personal opinion, folks, I would rather go do business with someone who's walked in my shoes, who knows the deal, who's been there, than someone who doesn't have a clue because all they have is their books in front of them, and they don't have the, I want to say the heart, the soul, to know what a caregiver is going through and what a caregiver needs. This is important when picking out a business to help you. and that's where I would gravitate to. I'm from New Jersey. I'm completely upfront.
Yeah, you're right.
Brutally honest, but I would, because there's so many times, and I've heard people say this on my show, oh, you know what, I'm a better social worker, I'm a better consultant because I did do the caregiving, and now I understand more about what my clients are going through. And
I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. Absolutely. I really feel like, yes, it's cool. It's fine if someone doesn't have the background, but if they do, there's just something so important that they understand that, yes, we are going through something, and that they can relate, and they know, you know, we might have to cancel last minute, or there was something that happened, and they get it. They're not going to be upset, and they can empathize and really help us even through any situation that comes.
Yes, and you come from a unique perspective. I mean, not that you're unique, but you have a unique perspective of having your degree, right? And how do you pronounce it? Gerontology? Gerontology. And you were a caregiver to your dad. That makes you, I think, have an advantage. Sorry to say, and I'm sorry that you went through that with your dad, but you understand the adult calling you up and saying, Bina, my dad is whatever age, you know, how can you help me? Mm-hmm. And I know that you would have that compassion. You had that extra something, whatever you want to call it, to be able to understand, empathy, if you will, to be able to understand that, because the truth of the matter is, folks, you really don't understand unless you've walked through it. And that's really the truth, you know, in a nugget. And I hope, you know, people don't have to go through that. But as you and I know, Bina, I mean, I'm a baby boomer. Baby boomers are going to be getting diagnosed. They are. If it's not Alzheimer's, it's some other dementia. And Parkinson's is, unfortunately, speeding up. And people are going to need caregivers. This is a fact, folks.
It's a big
caregiving.
Fact.
Yes, caregiving is definitely going to be very much up front and center. Rosalind Carter, the late Rosalind Carter just passed away. I don't remember the exact quote, but it's like, you know, there's certain types of people. Do you know that quote, Bina?
I don't know the quote, but I know what you're talking about, but I do not know the quote. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. I don't remember it all either. But, you know, if you're not already a caregiver, you might need a caregiver. You might have already been a caregiver, or you will need a caregiver. And that's the truth, folks. I've been a caregiver. I hope I won't need a caregiver for myself. I still am a caregiver. I'm still a caregiver for my son, my adult son, who has a cognitive disability. And this is home care is very much you're going to see that really explode over the next several years as people are aging very quickly.
Very interesting, too, that we're talking about home care, because I'm 39, and I've just known about home care forever for multiple reasons. I've been in the industry, and my dad, and the whole thing. But I don't think, like, people my age believe me when I tell my friends how expensive it is, to be honest. And so when I say things like, oh, yeah, my husband and I were looking at long-term care insurance and things like that, they're like, what? Where I'm like, you guys, it is one of the most expensive resources that you can get for somebody or yourself. It changes your life for the better. There's no question. It's just a very expensive one. So, like, there's so much that goes into it. Like, start saving now. My friends are, like, well, we're not 40 or we just turned 40. I'm like, I know. It's just all we know, right, Betsy? Like we know
that's right.
how good this kind of service is and how much it is needed and can be used for the better. But then on the other end, how expensive it is and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's very expensive. Oh, my gosh, you're 39, same age as my son.
Yeah, okay.
Same age. It's very expensive. My mom is in a facility in New Jersey, and I'm going to say the average price, she's in assisted living, not a memory care unit. I'm sure there's probably more. I'm going to say $8,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yeah. Oh, easily. That's what I would assume.
Yeah. That's basic, folks. If you need an aid, if you need anything extra, it costs extra.
Yep. Everything. Two medicine reminders in some facilities will cost you extra. So, yeah, it's just an interesting thing to think about, too. It's just something, for Betsy and I, just because we're in this industry, maybe I can't speak for you, Betsy, but I tend to think about it a lot because I see it a lot every day almost.
Yes, and I'll tell you, Bina, people they're lost. When they get a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or whatever dementia, maybe Parkinson's or whatever, and they need a caregiver, they don't even know where to begin. They don't even know where to start. I know I didn't. And that was, diagnosed 2010. There wasn't much information then. I think now in 2024, I'm very happy to see more resources available, more people doing, webinars. There's more education out there. But still, when you go to your primary, they might say, oh, no, I don't know any resources, or I don't know, what to do, where to send you to. And here, people can call you up. And how does that work? They call, and you do a interview, like not an interview, but like an intake, see what their needs are, and then you give them the resources.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, sorry if I said this, but so if a person wants to set up a project, they can have as many projects for many loved ones as they would like. And then within each project for each individual person, they can have as many tasks going. So, yes, you're right. So if someone were to start a project with Parent Projects, they would seek to a Compassionate Concierge who would really go through an intake or assessment to really dive deep and to find out what is going on. Just as you know and I know, every plan is going to be so different and individualized that it's important to get the full scope of what's happening. And then when that's over, the assessment, your Compassionate Concierge can really start, creating those tasks to really say, okay, sounds like your mom does need home health. Sounds like she may be best to be in a facility. Sounds like you may need a support group. Sounds like we need X, Y, and Z to happen. So it's a really nice way for someone who knows nothing, and as they shouldn't, they don't need to be experts on this. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you just don't know much of what's going on, Parent Projects is the perfect place to go to get some guidance.
I love this. I really love the concept, Bina. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you. I think it's great. Do you know how many people out there in the world? Okay, this is for the U.S. Only, right, Bina? This is just the United States, but
it is at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, but folks, let's be real here. I know. I see in support groups. I'm in a lot of different support groups. How many people are just lost? They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. This is, I'm so excited about it. I'm ready to jump through my skin in New Jersey.
I'm so happy to hear this.
This is freaking awesome, folks. And I'll tell you what, Bina has a passion. I can hear it. I feel it. Call me cuckoo if you want, but I feel these things. And I just think it's wonderful. I think many, many people need to know about you, Bina, and know about the parent projects, know about the Compassionate Concierge and how it could help them. So you have it individualized, plus you vet the companies that are in the person's area, from what I understand.
Exactly. No, that's exactly it. And that's what I really like about it, actually, is that, yes, we will talk to anyone anywhere, but we want to make sure you're getting that vetted local care.
That's very important because, people are like, oh, well, who do I trust? Or I just had a lady last week. I know her from church, and her daughter has MS, and she had a fracture, and she's home, and she has a home health aide through whatever service they have. And she's like, do I leave her alone with this aide? Do I trust her? And I said, yeah.
That's the point, really, to give you a break and give you some respite.
That is an important, very important point. Are these people vetted? Can they be trusted? And yes, I know you hear stories that people pass background checks and they find out that they're not who they say they are, but I would say if they're background checks and you go with a reliable source, and of course there's good and bad employees in every area.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And you might have to find different people until you get to who you click with. But this is, to me, such a valuable resource, and I am really honored, Bina, that you reached out to me to come on my show. You're welcome to come on my show to tell people about this wonderful resource to help them, because I know, and as you said, Bina, I mean, you're 39 now, but you were in your 20s. It's like my son was. And people we reach a college-age audience. Let me tell you, young people, you're going to find yourself being a caregiver. If, your parents had you later in life, you might find yourself being a caregiver. I've talked about this a lot. And are those young people going to put their lives on hold to care for their parents?
Yeah, and it happens. It happens.
Yeah, and this parent project really sounds phenomenal. It really does, and I'm just honored to share it really on Chatting with Betsy, because I do like to provide resources, and people are struggling out there, being, as you see it daily.
Absolutely.
They're struggling. What do I do? How do I plan? Where do I put my loved one? How do I know if my loved one needs to be in a facility? How long can I keep them at home? These are questions that I'm sure you were constantly asked. Because I've seen support groups.
You're right. It is. Those are the questions. People don't know what the next steps are, or what is the safest solution, or if where their loved one lives is safe and secure. And that's everything that we do on Parent Projects, is really, like I said, that deep dive through our assessment. I mean, our assessment's pretty involved because, well, I wrote it so I know what I want, my team to look for, but also because that is what I need to know. Do you have shower grab bars? Do you have stairs in the house? Are you using a walker? It's all very important in knowing, is this a safe place for your loved one to be with whatever their diagnosis is?
Yes, that's, excuse me, that's very important. Do you have agencies that will come out to someone's home and assess it for safety, like handrails, a raised toilet, or
like
whatever
DME
they might
companies,
need?
like durable medical equipment? Yes, that is something that we vet for.
Oh, great, yeah.
Yeah.
That's people don't, you don't realize it until you need it, and you don't think about these things until you need it.
And it's always urgent, right? It's very urgent.
Yes. Yes, and that's why Bea and I tell people all the time, plan. have a plan A, have a plan B. Start your planning. Look into facilities. If you need to hire someone to help you do that, that's fine. Do that. I highly recommend that, and I tell people I learn from my mistakes. I wish I had someone help me navigate the hospice process, to interview hospices and navigate that for me. I highly recommend that. And I'll tell you something else, I'll tell the audience, people don't know what's in their own backyard until they need it.
Yep. Agreed.
That was my own experience. Yes.
And that's why I really love the idea of how we vet the local agencies. You mentioned hiring someone to help you find a place if that's your situation. And there are people out there. They're called placement agents. Most actually do work for free because, they get paid by the facility, and they're very open about that. So there's a lot of options in every city.
Yes, there are. And there's a lot, there's a lot of resources that are available. And I know I hear from caregivers, well, I don't want to pay for that or this. But you know what? I'm going to be very blunt here because this is who I am. Folks, if you pay to get Netflix or whatever thing you do, spend the money wisely to help you and help your loved one have a better caregiving journey. It will relieve your stress. It will relieve the stress of your loved one. There's nothing wrong with getting help and support. A lot of people think, if I put my loved one in a facility, if I have a home health aide, that means I failed. No, you did not fail. Some of our loved ones need more care than what we could give them because we're not qualified. That's the way it is. That's the way this disease goes. Not everyone can be cared for at home. And it's just wise to plan ahead and have your ducks in a row.
It is, you just hit all the nails on the head because it is so important for a caregiver to understand I know it's a very buzzword, but their own self-care. The thought of a caregiver getting burnt out and not being able to care for the person because they got burnt out and sick leaves both people in kind of a bad place. So everything you said was correct. Make sure that you're getting that respite so that you can then take care of your loved one even better when you're more rested and have done what you need to do or want to do, or, anything that you need to take care of, you can actually go and take care of.
Yes, and I've said this before in my show, and I'm going to say it again. I know it's not pleasant to hear, but this is the absolute truth, folks. And I say it like it is. Self-care is not selfish. It is a matter, literally, of life and death of you, the caregiver. And let me tell you, I did it for 10 years with my husband, 5 years with my mother-in-law. I thank God I'm sitting here today basically sane and healthy. I've seen many caregivers burnt out or have died before their loved one because of medical issues. You need to take care of yourself. Here's a service that can help you alleviate some of the stress. Just knowing resources, or that they could call up and say, my loved one has this problem. Is this normal? Is what to be expected? I think it's really very important. It's very necessary, and I really think, in my own opinion, Bina, I think this parent project is going to take off like a rocket. So buckle up. I think you're going to be. I think you're going to be very, very busy. I think you're going to be extremely very busy. And I know, like I will post this interview in caregiver groups, podcast groups, and I just on my own pages, and I just think that it's just a very important resource. And folks, if I sound redundant, you know what? I really don't care, because I can't impress enough how important it is to have resources, have your ducks in a row. It's extremely important. You want the best for yourself and for your loved one, to know a place that you can call, and the places have been vetted and you could trust them. Of course, go by your own instincts. Why not try it? And just try it. Just reach out to Bina. Reach out. All the information is going to be in the blog. But I wanted to ask, as we wrap up here, Bina, where can people get in touch, connect?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they can find Parent Projects just on parentprojects.com. And then my email is Bina, B like boy, I, N like Nancy, A, at parentprojects.com. And then I sent you the links, but we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that good stuff. We're there, and you can really just reach out to me anywhere.
Thank you. Thank you, Bina, for coming on, sharing about what you were doing, helping your fellow man. And we need more people like you in the world.
Well, I appreciate you, but you're also doing a great thing. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me, Betsy.
Oh, you are welcome. It was my honor and pleasure. Folks, all information about being a Coleman Parent Project, Compassionate Concierge will be in the blog, so please read the blog that Jeanne White, who's the station manager, does, and Jeanne produces the show, so thank you, Jeanne White. And thanks to Lillian Cauldwell, who's CEO of Passionate Real Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And thank you to the listeners. Thank you for listening, subscribing. Tell your friends about Chatting with Betsy. I want to reach as many people as possible, not for fame and fortune, folks, but to help people. I am here to help people. I just spoke to someone last week, and she said, then why do you do your podcast? If you don't, make money for it. I mean, there's podcasters who do. And why do I do this show? Because I want to give back, because I want to help people. And I know what it's like to have no support. I know what it's like to be alone. And I don't want anyone to feel alone. I don't want anyone out there to struggle if they don't have to. And this is why I do what I do. And, yes, I get verklempt when I talk about it. Because it means so much to me, and it's a way to honor my husband's memory. So when you share the show, you are actually helping people, and you're helping to honor my husband's legacy. But more important, it's helping people, and that's what I'm called to do. So, and I will do it till I can't do it no more. And
I love being on this with you, Betsy, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My honor and pleasure. And, folks, Chatting with Betsy is free to subscribe to on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, YouTube, Amazon Music, just to name a few. And I appreciate it if you would subscribe. I have a great guest coming on this year. I have a variety of guests from all walks of life. You don't want to miss a guest. You don't want to miss an episode. And, yes, if I have to toot my own horn, I sure will do that. Toot, toot. I have phenomenal guests. And, when you hear me, I'm me being me. There's no putting on airs with me. This is who I am. And if you want to check me out, You can check me out on my Facebook page, Betsy, Betsy, Wurzel, Wurzel. If you're looking for a support group, I have #Kick Alzheimer's F movement. You do not have to have Alzheimer's or your loved one. All dementias, all walks of life are in my group. And if you want support, resources, please join. And that's what I have to say today, folks. And as I always end my show with this, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind and shine your light bright, because we need it now more than ever. Let's shine our light, folks, and be kind to each other and make this world a better place. In our little corner of the world, do what you can do to help your fellow human being. Let's bring back our humanity and our love for each other. And that's what I have to say. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Jeanne with Betsy on Passionate Rural Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.